So in this video, I'm just going to give you guys some reminders or suggestions that might be helpful as you guys work through lesson 14 um, on derivative shortcuts. This is just based off of feedback that I got from some of your classmates who said that it would be helpful to just to give these reminders and little suggestions on how to approach some problems that um, might not be obvious to begin with. So just give you guys the point is I'm going to give you some information, but I'm going to leave the kind of the working out of the actual solution up to you guys. So the problems I'm specifically going to talk about is problem number 1D, problem 2E, problem 3C, problem 4C, and 5. Okay, so I'm going to talk about first problem number 1D. The suggestion that came from one of your classmates is to remind you guys of the difference between r of x and r prime of x. So it's understandable that you might think, well, what's the difference between these two? Well, they kind of look kind of same, but the difference here is the notation, right? This one doesn't have a prime, right? It's just r of x, and then this one has a prime. So that's the visual indication that these two are actually about are two different equations, right? So this is the blue equation is the derivative of r of x. So that's the main difference. This one's the derivative, this is the original function. Because they're different functions, they each have a different job. So r of x is just going to give, the way I use it is if I feed it an x value, it's going to give me the corresponding y value for that x. Versus r prime of x, which is the derivative. Okay, so always think about derivative. If the derivative means instantaneous slope, that's the only information that the derivative equation gives us. It gives us the instantaneous slope of the function, specifically of the tangent line, at x equals -2, or whatever x value you pick. So visually, if I was, for example, if I wanted to know, if I was trying to figure out r of -2, right? Graphically, that means that when I plug in -2, I get this y value, and it corresponds to this y value here. Okay, so this is just a random graph for r of x, but just to give you guys the idea of what this means, r of -2 means when I plug in -2, that's going to give me that corresponding y value for the x. Similarly, if I can do the same thing with any x value, right? If I plug in -1, then if I plug a -1 into the equation, in essence, it should be giving me a y value that goes with that point as well. So the only job of this equation is to give me the y value that corresponds to that x value of which is the original function, versus the derivative equation, the r prime of x, right? It gives us the instantaneous slope of the tangent line that goes through that x value. So this gives us the y value, but compared to this one, it tells me the derivative of the tangent line. So the tangent line that would go through that point, x equals -2, would look something like this black line here. And what I get when I plug in -2 is the slope of this line. Okay, so r prime of -2 gives you the slope of the tangent line, right? The one that specifically goes through -2. So that's the that's the difference between r of -2 and what r prime of -2 is. So now that you guys, so hopefully that cleared that up regarding what's the difference between the two, and you guys should definitely carry out this problem and look through your notes in terms of how to write the equation of a tangent line. So we've done a couple of problems like that.